Hey guys, we are back for another Mythic Legions review, jumping back into the advent of Decay line. And I mean, I've had these figures since October of 2018 and I'm still not done with them, and I'm getting close. And we're taking a look at one that I had planned on reviewing a long time ago, but I ran into an issue that I just could not get past because I couldn't really review the figure in the condition that it was in. So we're taking a look today at MYRIA GOLDENBRANCH, one of the elves in the line. And when I had gotten my figure originally, she had a broken arm, so I couldn't rightly review the figure because it wasn't even functional. She was missing a limb. And I had tried to get a hold of the four Horsemen to get a replacement, and they unfortunately sent the wrong arm. And then they kind of went silent for a really long time, and I finally got the replacement not too long ago. So now I finally got a full completed figure, and we're ready to take a legit look at this one. So we've got her here in our standard Mythic Legions packaging. You can see her there in the window. We've got that standard backdrop bio for her on the side since she is a unique character, and then the back of the packaging has that mythos write-up along with the artwork we've seen specifically for the newer figures in AOD. So let's do it. Let's pull her out and take a look. And here she is out of the package, MYRIA GOLDENBRANCH from Advent of Decay. This figure is kind of an interesting one for me. Like I mentioned, she had a QC issue, so I've really been wanting to see what this figure was all about in a functional way. So I've kind of wanted to play around with this one, despite the fact that she really wasn't one that I cared too much about. Of course, I went all in on that Kickstarter, so I was going to get her no matter what. She's got a pretty cool look, but she definitely has one interesting shortcoming for me personally, but we will get to that. So let's get started, see what she can do. Obviously, we're going to check out articulation, see how she moves around, and let's be honest, we've seen this body a number of times now, so we know exactly what she can do. So the head is on a ball peg. She really can't go back, so not much on the upswing because of her hair. It just immediately hits her shoulders. And she can look down a little bit, but not much either. Bobble side to side, and then she does have rotation, but you do have to contend with that hair. The arms go out. You can rotate them. She's got a single hinged rotating elbow. We got wrist, forearm rotation, and then she's got hinge and rotation at the wrist and the hand. She's got an upper diaphragm twist, so back and forward, bobble side to side, and then rotation. And then you've also got the waist twist down there as well, which also adds a little bit more to that bobble and twist. Legs go out, they kick forward and back, and then you can cut at the thigh there. We've got a single rotating knee, so pretty standard for the line there. And then you've got your rocker and your hinge down here at the ankle. So she is, for all intents and purposes, a standard Advent of Decay Mythic Legions 2.0 style figure. The only real limiting factor for this particular figure and character is just her hair. It really does get in the way of moving that head, but nothing more than we've seen than any other figure. Now, despite the fact that we've seen this body and all of these parts really on other figures a number of times at this point, the paint job for this figure is very nice, and it really accentuates and kind of elevates this armor design, because let's be honest, this is a very standard look for a lot of the females when it comes to this line. They all have some sort of variation on the same parts, but this particular body with the greens and the coppers, some of the orange, and then that really vibrant blue really does it for me. It's a great set of colors, and the paint is just fantastic here. Everything is nicely done. Of course, the sculpt is exactly what you would expect it to be. So we've got a lot of elven parts, and then she's got a set of male armor in some fashion here. But there is just a tremendous amount of detail, and we know what to expect with these figures at this point. A lot of sculpt, everything is nicely done, but the paint is really where everything gets ratcheted up a bit, because there is a lot going on here. She does have a number of different colors. We've got browns, greens, golds, blacks, and silvers, the copper color on her waist and thigh armor and on her gauntlets. But the green and the blue color scheme really sells this figure for me. And then the way that blue is used on the copper parts as well. It's just a nice contrasting set of colors, and it really pops. Not to mention the fact that I have zero paint issues on this figure. Everything is nicely done. So it's a great sculpt that, while I'm already very much used to this body and these parts at this point, this particular color scheme really amped up a figure that, frankly, I didn't really care too much about going into this wave. And of course, we have to talk about this head sculpt because, I mean, she's a green-skinned female elf, So we get a very specific head sculpt out of this one. No pupils in the eyes, the gold tiara wrapped around her forehead, and of course you have the pointy ears. We've got braids in her hair that go back to those gold ties. It's a pretty basic head sculpt. Honestly, there's not tons in the way of detail. It's just a face, but it's very nicely done, fully painted, and it gets the theme of this character across really, really well with the color choices, the red hair that clashes with the green skin, which of course then ties into the armor, and then you got that skin tone tying into some of the other options that come with other figures in this wave. So while it's a pretty basic head sculpt, it really, really works, and again, it's one of those things where it looks good and I have no issues with it. Now, as far as accessories go, this is where the shortcoming I mentioned kind of falls into place, because as you can see, she doesn't really have a whole lot. She has enough, don't get me wrong, there's certainly a number of accessories here, but I think when I'm looking at this figure and I compare it to a lot of others, she really just seems to have the bare minimum number of accessories, and while they definitely work for her, you know, you always want more. So we've got pauldrons for her, of course, so they're just kind of copper. They match with her waist and her gauntlet armor. They are the standard kind of knight's pauldrons for the female body. They make her head even harder to articulate because, of course, they get in the way. They sit underneath of that hair. But I do think she looks a lot better with these pauldrons on. We, of course, have got a strap so you can, you know, sheath a weapon. We have got a little dagger here, silver blade with just a kind of a brown black handle, really, really basic. And then she's got another one of the basic long swords with another silver blade and then a brown black kind of handle on it as well. The only real, I guess, non-standard, non-basic accessory is the shield here, which is done up with her green and blue and brown coppery color scheme. So I really do like the shield. It's the signature accessory for me when it comes to this figure, but this is a pretty basic assortment. And, you know, I figure she looks a little more regal than a lot of other characters, so I was hoping she was going to have something a little more specialized in her package, but we get really just kind of the standard assortment, and then of course you have the shield. So enough to display her with, and certainly enough to do things with her, but it's one of those figures where I think she definitely should have used, or could have used, something else, or maybe one of those curved daggers, something a little more unique rather than just two of the basic weapons and a shield. So overall, this is still a really nice figure, don't get me wrong. You know, I'm finally happy with the fact that they were able to fix my problem and get me a correct arm to have a complete figure. And she certainly looks really cool. She's got a great sculpt. She's got a great color scheme. That's definitely the selling point here for this figure, is the way she looks. Green skin, green armor, and then that blue inlay with the copper accents is a winning color scheme for me. My only real negatives here are that I just think she needs a little bit more or a little bit something different when it comes to accessories, because everything she has is just way too basic for me. I think it really kind of drops her down a bit because she has no specialized accessory or nothing that's even slightly unique to her except for the shield, and it's just a shield. I always want something a little more unique when it comes to weaponry. But otherwise, she is still pretty cool, and she fits in with these figures very nicely. So that's going to do it for this look at the Mythic Legion's Advent of Decay MYRIA Goldenbranch figure. Let me know what you guys think. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and until next time.